Pay very close attention to the coming week and the days following afterwards. This could be your final opportunity in December to make a very significant choice. And the choice you make could affect your destiny for a very long time to come. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean. For over 30 years, I've been helping thousands of people navigate the events on this planet so that they can stay on a path of natural cosmic evolution. I work together with Michael and 5 other beings in Telstar. Telstar is an interdimensional, interuniversal force of nature and evolution that is dedicated to helping planets evolve out of duality. Now, I wanted to share that little bit of background with you so you know why you might want to consider some of the things I have to share with you. I want to start with a story. The other day I was meditating and I was listening to a playlist of rain recordings because it was so peaceful. A track started playing with an approaching thunderstorm rolling in from the distance. But then as the thunder got louder, I suddenly had a very bizarre experience. It felt like the veil suddenly lifted and the approaching thunderstorm was coming from 2026. It felt like a premonition. I could sense a great battle taking place between conflicting forces of energy. It felt like rolling thunderclouds of energy that were shifting back and forth between darkness and light and everything in between. It was not as simple as just 2 conflicting forces. It was more complex than that, and there was no sense of a final conclusion. So overall, I had the distinct feeling that 2026 is nothing to mess with. We better prepare now because it's very, very serious. Now, today I want to talk to you specifically about this week and the solstice on December 21st. I also want to talk about December 19th and 3-Eye Atlas. Now, many people have connected these 2 events, but I want to connect them in a different way that I'm sure you haven't heard. I hope you will take the time to look at this from several different angles. How you approach the coming week ahead could have real ramifications when it comes to your experience of 2026. Once the solstice passes, we will be shifting out of December very, very quickly. And by then, you may have already decided your future trajectory, whether consciously or unconsciously. Now, before I get into that, I have a free gift for you guys. Now, back in my early December energy update, I explained how you can prepare for 2026. Well, I decided to put that information into a written blog post explaining how you can choose your path for 2026. Then I created a free reflection journal and worksheet that you can download to guide you in anchoring your chosen path for 2026. And that is completely, entirely free. I will put a link to the blog post in the description below. Or you can go to saratogaaocean.com, click on the menu where you see blogs, and the first blog you'll see will be the one that I'm talking about for December. You'll see the free download links embedded inside the text of the blog. Now, I do recommend that you read the post so that you have context for the free download. This should make it so much easier for you to take personal command of your journey in 2026. Okay, now let's get into my solstice message for today. We are about to get into a critical 3-day period from Friday, December 19th through Sunday, December 21st. You want to be fully conscious during this period and before and afterwards. Let's start with how these 2 dates overlap, and then I will explain where they diverge into 2 different directions depending on where your consciousness is at. The overlap is this. 3-Eye Atlas which apparently will be closest to the Earth on December 19th, and the solstice, which occurs on December 21st, are both completely natural events. We already know why the solstice is natural, because it involves our Earth and the Sun. And 3i Atlas is natural because it is perfectly natural for interstellar matter to pass through our solar system. 3i Atlas is only new for us because until recent years, we did not have the technology to be able to detect such things. This type of thing has been happening for billions of years. Yet this is only the third time that we here on Earth have been able to detect such things. It just shows you how far behind we are with our Earth-based technology. The fact that we are so astounded that this object has properties that we don't recognize shows how limited and self-absorbed we are as a species. It's kind of bizarre that we find this so collectively shocking. It shows that we still do not fully recognize the nature of living on a planet in space. I mean, guys, we seem to find it just unbelievable that something would show up here that we don't understand. So let's put 3i Atlas aside for a moment. The December solstice is far more consequential to us than an interstellar comet that will be twice as far away from us as the sun when it reaches its closest point. Its closest point is over 170 million miles away. That's hardly close. Closest does not mean that it is actually close. Now, the December solstice, on the other hand, has deep meaning for us at such a chaotic time here on Earth. It exists as a physical turning point from one season to the next. With every solstice, a new trajectory is set in motion in terms of Earth's seasons of life. It is a major turning point. Right now, our entire planetary civilization is in chaos. After the solstice, as we rapidly head into 2026, the chaos is likely to increase. The outcome is no longer predictable because things are too unstable. So the thing that we need most right now is clarity and stability. The world is not going to create stability for us. The only plan they have for stability is to come up with more intense ways to control us and remove whatever freedoms we still have left. That's the controller's idea of stability. So we each need to create our own experience of stability in our individual lives. That's the only way that we will be able to weather the coming storm. And that starts with clarity. So what I want to do now is to clear the air of any distractions that could stand in our way. This way we can focus on partnering with the Earth to create a shift of our own. That's what the December solstice is all about. It requires deep contemplation and focus when it comes to the direction of our own lives. So in nature, we have the Earth shifting in its orbital relationship with the Sun. We also have an interstellar comet passing through our solar system that is many millions of miles away. I'm sure it's amazing for scientists to study, but it's not going to have any measurable impact on our lives or on the Earth. And that's a good thing, because we can include it in our existence without it becoming a major distraction. We thus have an open road of clarity about what to focus on. That all sounds pretty simple, right? But there's a much deeper problem in the mix. 3I Atlas is no longer just a comet to millions of people around the world. Aside from being the world's greatest form of clickbait, it also serves as a virtual bulletin board of insane projections from millions of humans on Earth. People have pinned their hopes and dreams on an interstellar rock that literally has nothing to do with us. So how did this happen? Who started such an insane level of what now looks like a growing version of mass hysteria? Well, I think it was all started by a gentleman named Professor Avi Loeb from Harvard. This is a man who desperately wants 3I Atlas to be an alien spaceship. This guy has been omnipresent on every media outlet and podcast every day for months. He writes numerous articles promoting his point of view. He is on a mission to fully discredit NASA and disparage any scientist who will not entertain his belief that this could be a spaceship. He is very manipulative, and I have watched him change his story depending on who is interviewing him. Through his omnipresent media presence, he has managed to position himself as the world's authority on 3I Atlas. I believe that he is the one responsible for all of the chaos and outlandish stories about 3I Atlas because he has strongly encouraged an environment that discredits science and supports amateurs over experts. Now, most people think that Avi Loeb is just a theoretical physicist who works for Harvard. And there is only one person that I know of who bothered to find out more about who Avi Loeb really is. That person is Gigi Young, who I consider to be an ethical and responsible spiritual teacher. She did some deep research into Avi Loeb and discovered that he is more than just a Harvard professor. Gigi learned that Avi Loeb is also a member of Israeli military intelligence. Now, let that sink in for a moment. What is really going on here? And why does this guy sound like a professional, full-time propagandist? The rhetoric he is pushing right now is feeding into the craziest stories that I have heard about this space rock. Just last week, I heard him say that 3I Atlas could be an intelligent being or a ship that intentionally hid behind the sun so we wouldn't see that it was depositing things into our solar system. That doesn't sound very scientific, guys. He made it sound like 3I Atlas could be up to something nefarious or even dangerous. Avi Loeb is a master at depositing things into our minds to cause people to think about this in ways that are increasingly irrational. He has to discredit NASA and science in general in order to turn ideas about this rock into a giant free-for-all. If he were to lend any credibility to actual experts, his entire shtick would fall apart, and all of his bizarre rhetoric would be called into question. So what is his goal? And why is the media so complicit and cooperative? And why is he actively turning people against NASA and real scientists? I think there's more going on here than meets the eye. And that brings us to the main issue of the massive number of utterly preposterous projections of this completely natural object in space. Everyone is waiting for December 19th, when 3I Atlas will be closest to us. This thing is moving at 130,000 miles per hour. It will only be closest to us for an infinitesimally small fraction of a second. And remember that it is still over 170 million miles away for just that tiny fraction of a second, and then is on its way out of here. Yet people talk as though this thing will be dropping by to visit us. It's here to give us love and deliver high vibe codes for the new Earth. It's going to activate all of humanity. It's going to shift us into the next level of human evolution. It's here to love, to help, and completely transform the Earth. Guys, I've heard people say that 3i Atlas is their last and only hope. This is really sad. So, nothing new is going to happen on Friday. We will still be living in the same crazy world. This will be just another broken promise that will have to be reconfigured into something else. The stories will continue, and the goalpost will be moved yet again. People will say how amazing it was, even though there will be no evidence of such beyond their own emotional, hyperbolic projections. And you, my friends, will have a choice to make. When you look at your life and the world around you, and everything still looks the same, I invite you to pause. For how much longer are you willing to lend your consciousness to these false, irrational promises? For how much longer are you willing to prop these stories up with your precious life? How many more goalposts are you willing to wait for, only to have the rug pulled out from under you again and again? When does your actual life become more meaningful than countless internet stories that show no basis in reality? This is your opportunity to answer these questions for yourself once and for all. This is your chance to decide how important your life is to you. Are you willing to take full ownership of your life instead of handing your future over to outlandish spiritual promises that never, ever manifest? I am very suspicious that these stories are being manipulated and propagated by the controllers of this planet. They have the technology, the will, and the wherewithal to do this. They control the online algorithms and can easily start any trend they want, no matter how bizarre. They are experts at this. Maybe their motive is to get spiritually oriented people to detach from reality in order to shut down their natural power of influence. Create an illusion of influence in a way that does not acknowledge manifesting reality, and they have no power at all. They just think they have power because they have been mesmerized and brainwashed to believe it. So if you want to keep waiting for the next big spiritual event being promoted online, know that you are taking a risk as we enter the chaotic waters of 2026. I suggest that you do some serious soul searching and consider choosing your sovereign self for a change. Consider coming back to center and being the creator of your own life. That's where you'll find a level of power and stability that you can fully own. Now, I'd love it if you leave me a comment and let me know where you stand on all of this. Are you holding out for the promised miracles around 3i Atlas? And what will you do if nothing happens on Friday? Will the ongoing hyperbole be enough to keep you going? Or have you had just about enough? Share your thoughts with me. but please share them respectfully. And remember to go to my blog and get your free download about how to prepare for 2026. The link is in the description below. And if you forget, just go to SaratogaOcean.com and click on blogs in the menu. The December blog will be right at the top. Now, if you want to continue on this journey with me into 2026, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I would love to support you in my weekly videos. And share this video and the blog with your friends who might appreciate greater support going into 2026. And with that, I'm sending you love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.